Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen. Got a really interesting one for you today. We are going deep into Google Ads. My guest today is Mark. Mark runs the Handle Studio. They sell cabinet handles and knobs. Yes, just that. And they're doing pretty well. They're doing over £1.5 million in turnover. They've been going for years, all the way back since 2007. And his number one marketing challenge is maximizing their Google Ads performance and that all-important ROI, or ROAS if you prefer. That's going to be the conversation today. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it. Right, so welcome back. As I said at the outset, today we're going to go all in on Google Ads because that is the number one challenge that Mark has in his business. The business is the Handle Studio, as I mentioned, and I'll be bringing him on very shortly. But before I do, I wanted to just share a little something because we're producing a lot of content. We're doing a lot of podcasts. We're creating tea talks. We're sharing the uncut, which is the behind the scenes on what we're up to at Evergreen. We're creating a lot of content. And what I'm finding really fascinating as we're pushing out all of this content, because we've been doing it for a few months now, is more and more people, both within brands, agencies and so on, they're sort of increasingly coming to me, sending me messages and emails and whatnot. And they say, you're creating a lot of content. Is it working for you? And I'll be honest, the answer is, well, my response is, what do you mean by is it working? Because if it doesn't mean we're getting masses of views and leads falling over themselves because we're producing some content, the answer is no, because we've been doing it a few months. But I don't expect nor think that that's going to happen. And I think so many people, and it's been really interesting the types of people who've been asking me this, and I'm saying, because I'm like, look, this is a long time. I think with content marketing, it's a long-term strategy. So we're having an absolute blast. I've got Darren behind the scenes. I mean, how many tea talks and uncuts and podcasts have we created now?
Yeah, I've completely lost.
I mean, it's a lot, isn't it?
We're doing so much. I was trying to tally up how much we do every week, and it's just countless amounts.
It is a lot. It is a lot of content, and it's great fun. And I think, there's that thing is that you've got to do something for 10,000 hours to get good at it and be an expert in it.
I will say, by the way, you saying about being honest about how well it's going, for my own job security, I tell people it's going very well.
It's going unbelievably well. It's going. We're having an absolute blast, and it is going well. We are getting, but the key thing I think with our content is we're very focused with who the intended market that we're trying to get. We're not trying to get this in front of everyone. We're really trying to just actually, speak to people in the home and garden lifestyle space, and then educate those in that exact same space, just so that we're top of mind, now or in the future. And that's working really well. We're having lots of conversations. We're getting modest views and engagement. We've only been doing, how long have we been doing this now? 4 months?
3 months,
yeah. So it's not even been that long.
It's a marathon.
It really is. I mean, on our YouTube channel right now, I think we've just tipped over 200 videos, which is, we haven't done all of those in 3 months. I should just say some of that is going back probably. But we must have done getting on for half.
I'll have to figure it out, but it's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot, but we're still not. You're not going to do it. And I think it's just worth reiterating, because I've probably messaged at least 10 people over the last 2 or 3 weeks that have messaged me going, I'm thinking of doing the same. Mm-hmm. Are you getting? Is it working for you? And I think so many people are very. Even experienced people are quite short-sighted or expecting that immediate gratification. They want that return. It's like, okay, well, it's going to be a lot of effort. Am I going to see a return? And we've said the whole of this year, we're going to create, I don't know how many podcasts, TikTok, like dozens and dozens and dozens in the first 12 months. And I look at all of that, and we've discussed this numerous times. That is just purely sowing seeds.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not expecting a return. It's just, let's build a foundation in year one. Yeah. And then in year 2, 3, start to go from there.
And I think what you were just saying before about how do you sort of see success in this is really important, because again, if you say, like, are we getting thousands and thousands of views?
No, really
no. But have we had inquiries and people come and talk to us specifically coming off of these pieces of content, then
exactly.
So it does depend.
So I'm always very open and honest with all of our numbers and everything. And the first podcast episode we put out, which was the very first one, which is, as we're recording this now, it was yesterday. That got 100 views in its first 24 hours, which that's amazing. I'll take that, because I know the only people that are going to sit and watch that are the people that we are intending to get in front of. That's amazing.
That's 100 potential successes right there.
Exactly. And it's and that's outside of Spotify and Apple and all of the other things. But it's just, I think it's just worth reiterating and making the point for anyone watching our content, because there's lots of brands and others that are watching this, and agencies as well, that are thinking, watching what Evergreen's doing, they're pushing out a lot of content, I wonder if it's working for them. The answer is it's part of a long-term strategy. So yes, it's absolutely working, but
and even the fact that they're having those thoughts means that we are in top of mind.
Yeah, exactly that. So no, I think it's just because I think so many people expect that immediate gratification. They want to return immediately, and I think that's why. So that's why you've told me so many interesting stats, Darren, about the people that they will start a podcast, they won't get past episode 8 or something.
It's like 80% of people won't get past 8 episodes, and then 80% of people who get past 8 won't get past 20.
It's unbelievable.
And we've already passed that on the Detox.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. So I just, consistency is the name of the game with this. And then being, we had another podcast guest on earlier today, and they were considering doing a podcast.
Yes.
And our advice to them was, do it, but be very clear on who the target market, what is your USP? Because the barrier to entry to create a podcast is you've still got to know what you're doing. You've got to have all the tech and the kit and all of the, the know-how, but it's somewhat lower than it was. Therefore, more people are doing it. Therefore, you've got to have a very clear USP and a niche. There's riches in niches, as they say. Thought it was worth making that point for those that are pinging me messages left, right, center and asking me. There you go. Now you know. So back to our guest today, chap called Mark. We'll get him on in a minute. Just before we do, though, business called the Handle Studio, doing about 1.5 million in revenue. Team of 5, their big marketing challenges, as I said at the top, the number one is just maximizing their Google performance, their Google ad performance. And in our little pre-chat chat, he's told me just how reliant their brand is on Google ads, and I'm not happy about it. So we'll get into that, and you'll find out what that is. Stay tuned. Second marketing challenge is social media marketing. By his own admission, in his own words, we've only just scratched the surface for this. So if that is true, I think there's a world of opportunity there. Third one is get the most out of the first two. So really it's Google and paid social, which is perfect he's in the right place, this man, for coming on this podcast, because that's all we talk about. In terms of platforms he's on, he's doing Google, PPC, he's doing Bing ads, which is great, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So he's kind of covering the bases, which is good. Spending about 10K a month on his marketing. Where does he want to be in a year and in the future? He wants to just be the market leader in this space. It is obviously a niche product. These think handles and doorknobs, and specifically for cabinets. He has said he's starting to branch into 1 or 2 additional areas, which we'll get into. We'll learn more about. But it is a niche product. We've all got handles or knobs in our house, so there's clearly a need for it. And then he's got a couple of questions which he wants to ask me as well. So should be fun, this one. I'm looking forward to hopefully having a bit of a geek off on all things Google Ads. Let's get him on. Darren, if you could do the honors. There you go. Mark, are you there, sir?
Hello.
Mark, so good to have you on, my friend. Welcome to the Grow with Evergreen podcast. To kick us off, do you want to just give a little 30 seconds who you are and just a little bit more about the Handle Studio?
Yeah, my name's Mark. I started Handle Studio in 2007. We specifically just do cabinet handles and cabinet knobs for kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, office space. Anything that's got a cupboard on it, we can do. We've got a handle for it.
Yep.
We only sell high quality stuff. We don't sell any rubbish. We've never been into that just to get a sale. So
sure.
We quality matters to us, and that's what we try to push to our customers.
That's good. And you said that customer service is really, you really made that point to me in our pre-chat chat. The customer service is huge for you guys as a brand, as a business. I mean, you've got really good reviews. You've been going for what, 15 plus years. So,
Yeah.
customer service, that's really important to you guys, right?
Yeah, we want every customer to be happy that buys from us, because we treat people the way we would like to be treated.
Absolutely. I love what you said as well in our little pre-chat chat about whether someone's spending a fiver or £500, they're going to get exactly the same service. And I think that's so important. And not every retailer does that. So that's really, really good. I want to get into these challenges. So number one, Google Ads. So just give us a little bit, paint a picture for us, if you wouldn't mind, on what does the current Google Ads activity look like? I know you said that you're not the most technical, so we'll do our best to not, I'm not going to go on a huge geeky tangent, but do you want to just give us a little snapshot of what the Google activity looks like? Because that is a key driver for the business, isn't it?
In what respects?
In terms of marketing and driving, the revenue and stuff like that. So what does, to your understanding, what does your Google Ads look like in terms of the reliance that the brand has and how that's working for you? Because that was obviously that number one challenge, was just maximizing that Google Ads performance.
Yeah, we heavily rely on Google Ads as our main source of traffic to the website.
Yeah. What percentage? What did you told me in the pre-chat chat? What percentage?
98% from Google to us.
So we're all in on Google Ads. And so that 10K you're spending, is that all on Google Ads? That's all going into Google Ads?
A small proportion that goes with Bing.
Okay.
But it's very limited on Bing, to be honest, because that's only just being tried, or not being tried. It's been going now about 3 months.
Okay.
And some of the figures I've seen on that has come back quite good. So we are looking to try and push a bit more towards Bing, as well as obviously Google as well, but obviously other areas as well.
So your Google Ad, do you know what types of campaigns you're running within your Google Ads account?
As far as I know, they're just the PMAX campaigns. I know they've just changed over, so I don't know if all of them have been changed to PMAX, but I know they're being pushed that way.
Okay. So Performance Max is over the last couple of years, that's really come into its own. I think the general consensus from ourselves, from a lot of marketers, was when Google brought out Performance Max really before it was ready to come out to market. It was awful in those early days. It's increasingly got better. It's definitely the way that Google is pushing for retailers, and it makes a lot of sense because how much do you understand Performance Max, Mark? Do you have an understanding of what it is and how it works, or not?
Not really, no.
Okay, so the good way to think about it, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are probably their brands, their businesses are running Performance Max, and actually I don't really know how it works or what it is. So great way to think about Performance Max is Google has lots of different ways that you can advertise your product, your service across the Google suite of services. So you can run, the immediate one everyone thinks of is the search ads. So that's your ads, you search for something on Google, you see the search results pages come up, those first 2 or 3 are going to be, sponsored links. That's your search ads. But in addition to that, Google, as part of their repertoire, have the ability to show like display ads or demand gen ads, which are more visual ads. So they might be actually physically banners that you physically create, and they show at different places. They're placed on different web pages and so on. You've also then got, that you can advertise via Gmail. You can advertise via shopping. There's lots of places across the Google properties that you can advertise. And historically, and to a degree you still can now, you would be able to advertise and choose which of those areas you say, I only want to run search ads, or I only want to run this type of ad, or I only want my ads to be seen here. What Performance Max does, and what Google have said is, look, you give us a bunch of assets. So you give us your logo, you give us some headings, you give us some imagery, you connect up your shopping feed if when you're e-commerce. And then we will, using our AI, using all of our data, we will show your ads across our entire suite of Google properties where we feel you're going to get the best return on your investment, on the money you're spending on your ads. And so you don't have as much autonomy and control. You effectively give the autonomy to Google and say, well, almost like, best, Google, take my budget, take my assets. I want more conversions or conversion value, whatever I want, over to you. And that can work. But what we say, and we're spending hundreds of thousands of pounds on Performance Max every month. But what we always say is, you want Performance Max to be the cherry on the cake, not the whole cake. So Google themselves have said, you don't be wholly reliant on Performance Max, because what you'll see, and again, I haven't got access to your account, and I know you've said, yourself, and I know you've got someone doing it for you, so that's fine. But what I want to try and do today is arm you with a few questions, and you'll be able to watch this podcast back or listen to it back. I want to try and arm you with some questions that you can go back and ask your agency to get more information, because knowledge is power. And so the question, if you're asking, good questions, you're going to get them. Hopefully they're already doing this stuff and they're thinking about it, and then you can get a better return. So having not seen your account, I would hope, and I would encourage you to challenge whoever's doing it for you to make sure that your account should not be all in on Performance Max. That's the first thing. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why I'm saying that. Performance Max is conversion hungry. So what you do with Performance Max, you've got all this, you put in your suite of assets, you say, this is what I want to achieve. You can set a target ROAS. So I want to hit do you know what your target ROAS is set at? Is it 3, 4, 5? Do you know what you're aiming for in terms of return?
400%, I think.
About 4. Okay. So
Bing's about 680, I think it is.
Wow. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean, if Bing's working, do more of it. I think so. Let's use 4 because that's a nice round number, so that's nice and easy. So with Performance Max, you're going to say, right, here's my bunch of assets, my headlines, my logo, my images, my shopping feed, etc. Here's my assets. I want to achieve a 4 times ROAS. So for every pound I put in, I get £4 back out. And then what I want to do is, I'm going to give Google autonomy to go and run with it. That's fine. What Google and Performance Max will do, because it's conversion hungry, is it will look for the lowest hanging fruit. And then once it finds something that works, it will just keep hammering that again and again and again. Depending on how, and there's lots of if and buts and maybes in this, because I obviously haven't not seen your account. But what can happen, I've seen it happen, is if you don't have a separate search branded campaign, for anyone that's looking for you by brands, they're searching for Handle Studio, the Handle Studio, etc.
Yeah, we do have those.
You do have a separate search campaign that's brand,
because most of our revenue comes. I think it comes from Google Shopping as well, because we now you've mentioned assets and images and logos. We've got all that all set in Google as well.
Amazing. So that's really. So I'm going to describe, and if you're doing this, fantastic. But I'm going to give you a kind of the ideal setup you should have. You can note it down or listen to this back, and then you almost go to double check that, look, is this roughly what we've got? It doesn't have to be exact, but Performance Max plays a role. You definitely want a standalone search campaign for your brand, because that is going to be branded clicks are going to be the highest engaging, the cheapest, because in theory, no one else is going to be bidding on your brand, and they'll be the highest converting. So that's like, your brand should be like printing money. So in terms of ROAS or return on investment, if I think of some of our clients, 15, 20, 25 times return in terms of, what they're putting in versus what they're getting out, because it's the clicks are pennies and it's like printing money because it's people searching for the brand. The more you grow as a brand, the better that becomes. It's why the well-known brands, they have straight away, they have an immediate advantage because there's so much more search for their brand. So you want to have a standalone search campaign. You mentioned that you'd listened to one of our other podcasts where we were talking about Performance Max's shopping in our pre-chat chat, and the shopping, we are still doing it. It does still work. Yes, Google is pushing a lot towards Performance Max, and you can run within Performance Max. You can, but depending on how you set up, run effectively a shopping only Performance Max campaign. There are different creative ways that you can take a Performance Max campaign and say, I know off the bat, Google wants to run it to everyone, but actually I only want to take a subset of the data. If you're quite technical, you can do stuff like that. But what you want to make sure with Performance Max is that you try and test and experiment with running standard shopping as well. It does still work. We're getting some amazing returns still, even in 2024. You heard it here, that standard shopping can still work. And particularly if you are seeing, and again, I don't know, Mark, if you would know this, but if in your account you're seeing diminishing returns with Performance Max, if you're seeing an ever reducing return, as in we used to be hitting a 5 times ROAS with Performance Max, now we're down to a 4 or a 3.8 or a 3.5. If that's happening, you need to experiment with standard shopping, and you can also experiment with slicing and dicing your performance max campaigns, because maybe there'll be certain ways in which that's set up that just don't convert, that just don't work. So, and then outside of that, do you know if you are running any standalone retargeting campaigns?
Yes, for on Google as well as Bing as well, I think.
Is that in addition
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the Performance Max?
yeah.
Fantastic. So again, that is another thing you definitely should be doing, because retargeting is going to be incorporated into Performance Max to a degree, but best practice is have a standalone standalone retargeting campaign. And again, make sure that's set up. You've got the retargeting tag on your website, so you're able to capture people and track people and all of that good stuff, yeah?
I guess so, yeah, because when I have a report once a month, the retargeting figures are on there as well. So
Okay, good. That's good. So that, again, this is good. And this is if you've got your ducks in a row, then this is amazing. This is really good. So what is there any part of your Google ads that you're not happy with, or that you're thinking this feels like an opportunity, a missed opportunity, or an area for we can improve? Is there anything? Because if there is any specific things, I'm more than happy to give you my 10 cents worth.
yeah, just Google at the moment seems to be a bit up and down. Some days we're flat out, and some days it's almost like someone flicks a switch, so you're turned off Google.
And that's not you in terms of from a budgeting standpoint. You're not changing it.
No,
You're being fairly consistent with your.
yeah, but just the same every day, whether it's a Monday or a Saturday.
Okay. And have you looked at, I mean, that in itself, I'm wondering. So have you looked at, and have you done any, have you looked at which days are the better performing days? Like, is there, on a Monday, are you particularly busy, and then on a Saturday, you're particularly quiet or something? Have you looked at any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been quite consistent. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're always busy.
Okay.
Thursday, Friday drops off a little bit. Saturday again drops off a bit, and then Sunday is busy again. And it's
And
been like
that's
that.
and is that so when you're talking about the flux, is it there's no trend that you can spot in terms of that it is a certain day every week or a certain time that's quiet or anything like that? Is it just completely random in terms of peaks and troughs?
Yeah, just random, really. And it's like I've said, I've sent emails no end of times to our agency to find out, make sure everything's running okay with Google, because it just feels like someone turns you off some days.
Yeah,
But then other days, it feels like there's no one else can be on the internet looking at any other companies because they're all buying from us.
I mean, but how often is that happening? Is it happening to the point where it's a concern? Like, if you have a blip, is it over pretty quick, or is it sustained, kind of like a
No,
lulls?
it's just randomly.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to be able to diagnose the problem without seeing the data. But I think I'm just thinking some of our clients, like, we see you are going to see peaks and troughs. I think anyone turn around going, oh, you should always be optimal performance is no, be trying to pull the wool over your eyes. You are going to see peaks and troughs, of course you are. But it's I'm just trying to think. Yeah, some of the accounts
I mean, more so these last couple of months rather than
okay.
we've always had peaks and troughs through the year.
Yeah.
And for years, we've got graphs and figures, and you can see Christmas time to
Sure.
March, April time, it peaks, and then because obviously the summertime comes and the lights and nights come, so people are doing more stuff in the garden probably.
Yeah.
So from the warmer months, it dips a bit, and then come September time, back to Christmas time, it peaks again.
When was the last time you changed the creative and update the messaging, the headlines, all of that good stuff? Like, is that being rotated and experimented with frequently?
No.
That might be an idea.
On product pages.
No, so in the ads themselves. I mean, actually both. But I was talking specifically about the ads themselves in terms of the creative.
No, I don't know.
Because that's something, maybe a question to ask is, with Performance Max, it'd be worth, if I were you, the things I'd be finding out is, and your reports you're getting might tell you this, but what proportion of the ads you're running, just how much of the budget and the reliance and the clicks are coming into Performance Max campaigns versus any standard shopping versus retargeting, just to get a bit of a makeup. Because what I would encourage you to do is make sure that you're not huge, in the same way as the brand is overly reliant on Google Ads, which I want to come on to. I, at the same time, wouldn't want to be overly reliant on Performance Max. And so I just like to spread my bets with anything I do. Any kind of marketing, I think it's safer to spread our bets. Yes, if something's working, then we'll want to double down on it. But in the same way as it would scare the heck out of me if my business was 98% reliant on Google Ads, it would also, worry me if I looked at my Google Ads, I'm spending 10K and I'm, 80% of that is going on Performance Max. I wouldn't like that, particularly with with Performance Max, because you have so little control. You have so little visibility compared to some of the other campaign types. So that might be a question to just ask. And also, if you could, I would ask them, has that changed over the months? So are they pushing to become more and more focused on Performance Max? Because with Performance Max, if you are seeing peaks and troughs, that's very difficult to analyze, because it's effectively a campaign running effectively on autopilot. It's, there's a lot of automation going in there, and you need to with Performance Max, you need to leave it be. You don't want to be tinkering with it all the time. So you're going to see, but I would just be, are you moving? I've seen a lot of accounts where they were more shopping, they were, more search, and then they're starting to just dump everything into Performance Max with the belief that that's just going to answer all their prayers and do everything on full automation. I'm not saying that's happening, but it'd be a question to ask.
Yeah.
Want to move on to actually, before we go on to the social marketing, I wanted to, so 98% reliant on Google Ads. Have you ever heard me talk about, I know you've seen some of our Tea Talks and stuff like that in our pod. Have you ever heard me talk about the backbone of digital marketing?
No.
Okay. This is I'm going to send you this afterwards, because I think for you, this could be really, really useful. As a brand, you're doing circa 1.5 million right now. Do you know where you want to go, how far you want to take this? Like in the next 3-5 years, do you want to get it to a 3 million business, a 5 million business? Like, how far do you want to take this thing?
It's not so much about turnover. What I would like it to be is that, obviously, if people think about cabinet handles, they initially think of the handle studio.
But more than that, what does the business? So being the market leader is good. That's that's admirable. But from a revenue standpoint and from a commercial standpoint, what does it look and feel like? Do you have that nailed down? Do you know what that is, or not really?
No, because I've got no set figures set on that.
Okay. I do think there's merit. So something I challenge all of the brands we work with is, and some of the times they don't know it, and they're like, and I get them thinking about it, is I think being clear on what success looks like, particularly if you are working with an agency or anyone, is they need to know what they're aiming for. I think you'll get better results if you can go, look, this is what the goal is. And I think just knowing what that looks like, I always ask whenever I'm talking to a prospect, is what's success look like? What are we aiming for here? Because once you understand that, so hypothetically, if you're a £1.5 million business right now, even if it's not the end, but you said, right, in 3 years, I want to double the size of the business, just as a hypothetical. Once you know that, you can then look and go, do we want to be, say, a £2-3 million business that is so reliant on Google Ads? Because year on year, Google Ads is increasing. I mean, last year they put their price up a couple of times. So Google Ads is becoming more expensive. I can pretty much guarantee, without seeing any of your data, you will be seeing fewer clicks for, fewer clicks for your pound. You will be seeing, acquisition is going to become increasingly difficult. So as a brand, to continue to grow and to grow it in a sustainable way and be robust and be kind of, recession proof, and to be what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for, Darren? To be as sustainable, I'm going to go with, as possible, you don't want to be so reliant on Google Ads. So we have this framework that I encourage brands, which is, we call it the backbone of digital marketing. And we say, as a brand, you don't want to be more than 25% reliant on any one channel or platform. So ideally, as a brand, the optimal scenario would be 25% of your visibility, your traffic, your visibility, and your sales are attributed to paid channels. 25% is attributed to channels that you own, i.e. direct, repeating, recurring, people that know you, searching for you by brand name. That's your brand visibility. 25% is going to need to come via your email marketing and the traffic you're nurturing. So it's your emails, your social media, and so on. And then 25 comes from the traffic that you are earning. That's your SEO. Now, you've said you're not doing any SEO at the at the moment, and I know you've got some team in house. But as a concept, what that is, it's completely future-proofed, and what it enables you to do is to dilute down your reliance on Google Ads. So overall, the business grows, but you're putting more irons in the fire. Have you ever sort of thought about that, or have you? Because as you've grown and just become almost entirely reliant on Google Ads. Have you ever sort of thought about what else can and should I be doing?
Yeah, obviously, but again, it's budget that comes down to it as well, because none of what you've just explained comes cheap.
It doesn't, but Google Ads doesn't come cheap either.
And as I said to you in the pre-chat show as well, with SEO, we've had our fingers burned so many times that you tend to stay away from that because, in my eyes, there's no regulation on it.
Yeah, no, I get that. I do get that. I think with SEO, I mean, it depends on what you mean by the, SEO is a label. I think if this was my brand, what I'd be thinking is, what I think there's an argument for paid social, which we'll come on to, but I think what you want to do is be thinking about, have you done any email marketing?
No, we don't.
Has that been something you've considered?
It's something in the pipeline now, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing because how many people are coming to your website, not buying in that first instance? Yes, you might capture them via retargeting, but you're 97, 98% of those people are not going to buy, and therefore they're gone. And if you can capture their data, data is king, data is everything. So if you can capture their data, maybe with an incentive or some reason, try to experiment different things, email marketing would be hugely valuable for you. Same with your socials. Are you active on socials? Are you doing, not paid, but organic? Are you doing much when it comes to social?
Yeah, we post quite a bit on Instagram and TikTok. It's
Have
not something every day.
And that's being done internally, right? You've got someone on the team doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to be good, but making sure there's a focus, so it's not just a spray and pray approach, but actually what's the strategy for doing that. And then when it comes to SEO, I've heard that story. People have been burnt. It makes sense. Look, your SEO doesn't need to be overly complicated. You're on Magento 2 in terms of your CMS. Your website optimization, as long as from an optimization perspective with a website, and this is a general rule of thumb for anyone that's thinking, I need to do SEO, right? In the early stages of SEO, I've done SEO for 20 years. The early stages of SEO is, does the website convey what we do and how we do it, or what we do and who we do it for? So in your case, Mark, your website it's aesthetically, I think it's a fantastic website. It really looks great. So does it clearly convey what we're trying to sell and who our target, who that is for? Yes, it does. So you don't need to worry about sweating the small stuff from an optimization perspective. So beyond that, it's then really the SEO is about content and links, in the simplest terms. So are you putting out content on your website to build your website into an information resource? Because that's SEO in a nutshell. You remove the label. What is it? SEO to dilute, and it's not an immediate thing, but what I'd be doing, if you've got someone creating social content, have you got anyone on that person or anyone else on the team that could write content, that could create graphics, that could start to turn your website from just being a shop window that's trying to sell a product, which you're always going to pay a premium with Google to do that, and actually turn it into an information resource that genuinely adds value, can help the user, can answer their questions, can point them in the direction of the products that are right for them, for the solution that, the problem they've got or the solution they need. That's where content can come into its own, and you can then dilute down your reliance. And so you still do the paid, the paid works, but if the only source of traffic into your brand is paid, you are going to have to spend more every year to get less just to keep up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So
yeah.
That's for me. That's what I speak to a lot of brands, and they say, we look at their data and it's like they're 50, 60, 70% reliant on Google ads or paid media in general. And then at that point, we're saying, well, how can we do more to get this kind of two that one, how can we get more from that traffic that you're already getting, of which I've given you a few ideas, just make sure you're not reliant on Performance Max and so on. But then outside of that, if you take nothing else away from this episode, I would really give serious thought to thinking what other irons in the fire can I put? What other strings can I add to my bow to just dilute down my absolute reliance on Google ads and paid media on Bing ads? And this is coming from someone that literally runs an agency that sells paid media. So we do this stuff. I think it's amazing. I think it's hugely important, but I'm putting myself in your shoes and going, keep doing that. Yes. But also you don't want to be, you don't want to have, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Particularly when you think about how Google is evolving, how it's getting more expensive, the things you're already seeing, it would worry me.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, does it make sense?
It does, yeah.
And have you got anyone on the team that could do any, writing or creating any stuff that could just? It's a slow burn. It's but then you don't have to go all in on it. You just need to start chipping away, because what you would have done through your Google ads is you'll be sitting on a treasure trove of data that with a few hours you could slice and dice that data to learn a vast amount about how your customer searches, what their pain points are, what are the key products they're looking for the key solutions and so on. And then you could create guides, resources, videos that would mean you're not having to pay for every click that you're getting to the website.
Yeah, we do a little bit of that. I must admit we don't do a lot, but we do. We have got a magazine page on our website, which is more as just like blog posts, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the number one question we get asked is, how do they measure a handle? Obviously, if a customer's already got a certain size handle they're trying to replace.
Yeah. Where can I find that on the website?
On the top right hand side, there's a link there called magazine.
Got it. Yep.
And there's some information there. It's about our new products that gets put in there. There's measuring help in there.
Yeah.
There's a link.
Because that, I can't. Where is that? What's that for? That first one, I want to find that one, because that is exactly the sort of thing you should be doing with this. If you just did, so I'm trying to find it. It's not on the first page.
It should be on every page on the top right hand side.
I've got a handle visualizer, which that in itself is quite cool. I've got the magazine there. I've got that. I'm in the list of posts.
Oh right, okay.
I'm trying to find the actual specific post. Where is it? But that is, I'd be all over that, because that is, those key questions that your sales team know that you get is how to measure this and stuff like that. So good. And I wouldn't actually, I think you're kind of burying it if you're putting it in magazine. Like, I would have probably never found that if you hadn't told me that.
I can't find it now myself.
There you go. But you see, and that's really what I'm saying is, I think, but in that, we're talking SEO, Mark, and I think that's the thing. People think, oh, SEO is this separate thing. It's not. It's just actually thinking, how can we as a business genuinely help our? Do you know what? A great way to think about it is, if you had a physical store. You don't have any physical stores, do you?
Yeah, we've got our main place. We've only got one. But we do have a showroom here as well.
Amazing. So you imagine in that showroom, why do you put staff in there? Right? It's to, one, help transact, but two, it's to help and educate the customer and walk them through and hold their hand as your content does exactly the same job. Your Google ads is just there to sell. It's there to go, you've searched for this type of product. Here's that product. You go to the product page and you can check out. Great. What about all the people that go, I don't know what product I'm looking at right now? Being so reliant on Google ads, you're going to be paying a premium for those clicks. Some people are going to be searching, they know exactly what they want, but how many lost clicks are you spending money on getting because they don't know, and you're not providing that answer to actually educate them? Or some of it you probably are, but you're burying it under, under the links on your website, making it difficult to find.
So where would that go then?
I would be putting it in, I would have a section on the main nav, as in, let's have a look. I'd need to give it a little bit of thought, but I would put it a lot more front and center. I would almost, you'd need to do, what I would do with this is I would map out all of the different questions, the key topic. I would group the topics together in terms of what are the key things. If you did a bit of a brain dump in terms of the different key topics, like how to fit it, what's the size, where, all of the different, et cetera, and then I would create, I don't know, I'd call it the handle hub or something like that. And I would have like lots of Q&As and FAQs and little instructional videos on here's how to measure it, what you need to measure the depth, the width, the da-da-da-da. I would have all of that, little short 60-second videos that I would put on YouTube with a really nice description, embed on the website, and I would house everything under maybe like, a hub, the handle hub or something like that, where there's the overarching theme is help and advice and and education when someone's got a specific question regarding any of the products. Because then from there, you're linking through into off to all the products and so on. But what you're doing is you're feeding Google exactly what it wants, which is, it's a search engine. People use Google to search for questions and answers. And that's why I don't like the massive reliance on Google Ads, because regardless of how it's set up, the campaign types, whatever, by definition, you're going to have to go after the commercial terms, because you want to go for where there's buying intent, which makes all the sense. It's the right thing to do. But how many people, and you'd only have to look in your GSC, so your Google Search Console account. You could actually look at this after we've, go and have a look at it and ping me an email, let me know. I'd love to know. But how many people are searching? They're not ready. They're not at the buying stage. They're at the information stage. They're at the I need to know stage. And how, when, why, where, who, all of those kind of questions right now, you're not capturing all of those people. So how many more sales could you be getting, and how much more quickly could you grow by addressing that need? And if you want to put a label on it, that's SEO. But what I'm describing, you could absolutely do yourself. And it doesn't require an SEO strategy. It's really just going, right now, the Handle Studio is a shop window. You go on, it's all about the product. And that's fine. But we need a part that it's like product, help. And really, that's what I would think about, is create content that can help the user. And then if you can make it with, short little videos walking through how to do this, how to do that, and then written up guides, just so you cater for how people, take on board their content, you're off to the races, my friend.
Yeah. Because being naive to it, because the content's there on the website, you think then Google sees that, but it's not just Google; it just needs to see it.
Exactly. If Google, and this is the thing, right? The way you got to do this, right? So here's something I've championed and advocated for years. When you think about your website, when you think about any kind of marketing, forget Google exists. Right. So everything you do on your website, forget Google exists. Right. So if you look at your website now and you're not trying to do it just for Google's sake, but actually, just think about the end user, to the customer. How difficult are you making it? You're burying some of the gold on your website. So actually, you want to bring that to the front and say, don't make the user work for it, because I would have never have found that on the magazine thing. I would not have known it's there.
Yeah.
And so I think you need to bring it front and center on the website, not to detract from the sales, because of course that's what it's about. But you can add so much more value and help people, and you'll capture. And what you need to do is think of it as a topic, which is why I quite like labeling things. So I quite like the idea of calling it a hub, or we've called it all sorts of different things, but something where it's a collection of different tools, assets, resources, and so on.
I will do that, to be honest. Now you've mentioned that. That will be something I'll look at to put on the...
I love that. You should do it. But it makes sense. And you could do that yourself. Get the team to do it. Create the handle hub. Put it as a thing on the menu, and then in there have a drop down like you've got on all the other areas with a bunch of the key things. If you were to go through and ultimately categorize everything into like half a dozen different categories of, is it to do with the fit? Is it to do with the style? Is it to do with the size? Is it to do with this, that, or the other? if you were to do that, and then from there think, right, what are the different things? Create some videos, take some really nice photography to show someone measuring it, someone doing this, someone doing that. Feed that in, put that into your main nav. Give it a little bit of time. If you can, the next logical step from doing that would be to do a bit of promotion, because if you can get some links and some PR, I don't know if you're doing any PR or anything, but if you don't do that, it's not a deal breaker. But just doing that, it'll be huge. And what you could also do, because then what this feeds into is then you can take that, let's call it the handle hub, right? For example, if we took that, you can then put that as a call out, as an extension on your ads. So then you put a little description. So within your ads, it's like your ads are 90% product, but then you've got a little call out, a little highlight, a little site link that's like, not sure what you need, or got a size question, or not sure how to measure it, or not sure the right style, or something like that. Check out our handle hub. So straight away, that person, I may not be ready to buy because I don't know what I need. Now you're helping me and you're nurturing me to the sale. And then on top of that, you have email. There's no pop-ups on your website. There's nowhere for me to sign up. So again, get that. Get my data. Found this this useful. Well, why don't you click here and we'll send you a PDF of exactly how you can measure and do this and do that and do the other. You capture their data, and then you can then create a sequence and so on.
Yeah, I'm going to take that away from this. That's one thing I will take is the handle hub.
There you go. You're welcome. Good. I'm glad. So you're welcome. You're welcome. I think the next thing I'm conscious of time. So the next thing I wanted to try and help you with is the social marketing. So the social media marketing. So are you not doing any, obviously I know you said you're doing a little bit of Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. Ads wise, you're not doing any of that right now.
Only on paid ads on Instagram and TikTok, nothing. And then we'll post a couple of pictures of either new products that have come along. TikTok has only been really tickled with. It's never been.
Yeah. Are you doing retargeting on these channels?
No.
Do that, Mark. Please do that. It will be like printing money. So do retargeting using social is a no-brainer. We do it for every single one of our clients, have done for years. It's amazing because from a retargeting standpoint, the way you got to think about it, and for you, because you're so in on Google, it's such a no-brainer to do. So you think of it like this way. Google is for prospecting, right? You're bringing people in. Use social, so your Instagrams, your Facebooks, it doesn't really matter, whichever platforms. I mean, Pinterest could be another potentially interesting one for you on this. Use social media to re-engage that person. So when you go on a website and the premise of retargeting, right? You go on and then the next day you see an ad pop up for them. It's like, here's there's a call to action, or there's, some incentive or whatever. That's what you need to be doing, because how many people go on, they're looking at this, they're trying to work out which handles they need. Then the kids come in the room, start screaming, dinner's got to be ready. They leave. If the next day pops up, beautiful creative handle studio, why don't buy, 7, a limited time offer or 10% off, or come back and finish your purchase. Any whatever, the call to action can be decided. That will cost you pennies, because if you only do it to a retargeting audience, it will literally cost you pennies to run that. And what it will enable you to do is keep your brand top of mind for all the people that have been on your website. That is an absolute no-brainer for you to get whoever's supporting you on this, get them to help set you up with onto Meta would be the first one I'd go to do it, because that'll be Facebook and Instagram covered. Retargeting, you just need to put the retargeting tag on, or the pixel, get that on there. And get your audiences set up. Great way of keeping your brand top of mind.
Right. Okay.
Do that. Honestly, that will be like printing money. That is an absolute no-brainer for you to do. 100%. What was there any? You had some questions. Was there any questions that you had of things that we haven't covered that you wanted to ask me on this?
The only thing that is questions I was going to ask is to do with Google, because obviously,
sure,
there's always myths around Google as far as SEO as well, where agencies can always guarantee to get you to the top of Google.
A lot of agencies say they can. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So is that true or not?
No, is it hell? Come on. No, it's one of those, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, isn't there, in agency? I've been in this game a long time, and there's a lot of front, and you know what else? Look, agencies do have certain insights that your average brand is not, because frankly we're working on a lot of accounts, we're working on different accounts. We've generally got people at Google that can help in terms of raising tickets and getting support, so on. So that yes, there are a few benefits and bits and pieces that maybe the average brand wouldn't get. Of course, can an agency absolutely guarantee we can guarantee you this and we can guarantee that? To a degree, they can guarantee things, but that's only ever going to come from an ad perspective, but it's just going to come as a premium. So I could guarantee any of my clients would be number one for whatever they wanted to do. They just have to pay through the nose to do it. And does it make commercial sense to do that? It's like sometimes I've had it where brands say, oh, we always guarantee want to be number one for anyone searching for anything to do with our brand. And I'm like, okay, I can force that to happen, yes, but you're going to pay a premium for it. And do we actually need to do it? I can just set it as guaranteed 100% absolute top impression share. I can set that, but it's, do I need to set it? Does it make commercial sense to set it? Probably not. There's another common myth. I don't know if you've heard this one where, Google Ads, does it help SEO? The answer is no. Well, the direct answer is no, but the indirect answer is, well, of course it does. In as much as Google Ads, if you're spending 10 grand a month on Google Ads, you're driving a lot of visibility to your website. If some of that traffic converts, then you are going to be getting more sales. You're also going to be getting more people that off the back of those clicks going back to you, repeat customers, returning customers, people that have maybe bookmarked you, going to return, they're going to reopen up their browser and go back to your website. So you're going to see an increase in direct, you're going to see an increase in organic, people searching for your brand, and you're going to see therefore more customers and more visibility, more traffic. If those people engage with your website, they visit multiple pages, they buy the product, then that of course has a domino effect, a knock-on effect to improve your SEO. Because from an SEO perspective, Google is people coming from multiple channels over differing time frames are buying and engaging with this. So it has an indirect correlation to improving your SEO. It does not have like a Brucey bonus. If you spend money on ads, your SEO will improve. It doesn't have that. And that's a very common question I get asked a lot.
Yeah. As far as spending money on Google as well.
Yeah.
But because Google always suggests you should spend this amount, or Google suggests you should.
Is this when you speak to like a Google rep?
No, actually in the account.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, when have you ever seen it Google turn around and go, yeah, decrease your spend? Like, come on. Google's a commercial company, right? One of the most aggressive in the world. So their default recommendations, I mean, I don't speak to Google reps, but, I'm yet to ever hear a scenario from a Google rep where the solution has been anything other than give us full autonomy, turn on every automation there is and spend more. Like, that is out of the box what Google's going to want you to do. The caveat, I guess, to that is, Google is amazing. I love Google. I've been doing it for a long, long time, and it's hugely powerful. And I've been able to transform many, many brands over the years. But Google's only as good for all its automation as what you're putting in. So if you're feeding in good data, good information, good conversion data, then it's going to do a smashing job. If you're feeding in, data that's not so good, then you're not going to get the best out of it. And so I think, when it comes to Google and stuff like conversions, that's an area where conversions is something that a lot of people, where they really get it wrong, because they feed in, they put lots of actions as a conversion. So they're telling Google, oh, if someone watches a video, if someone downloads this, if someone adds something to basket, that's a really good action. I want more of those. And it's even worse if they put a commercial value to it. I've had accounts where I've reviewed them and they've ended up being clients because we've looked at it, and I had one that rings a bell, that they had a £30 conversion value attributed to every add to cart. So if you think, and it was absolutely not, it ended up being one in dozens that actually converted for this, but so their data looked amazing. Their Google Ads, you went into it and it looked incredible because it looked like they were generating money hand over fist. But the reality was, when we delved into it, they had their purchase conversion. This was an e-commerce brand. They had their purchase conversion, but then they had the add to basket, the checkout process, all with commercial values assigned. And it was done by an agency because they wanted to, frankly, make their data look better. So if you're feeding the wrong stuff in, you're going to get, the wrong stuff out.
Right.
Yeah. So again, is something to check. Is the only commercial value that should be assigned from a conversion standpoint is something that has real monetary value, in my opinion.
Right. Okay.
Was there anything else, my friend? Was there any other questions?
I think that was it, to be honest.
Good. Okay. Well, if there is,
Just one more thing.
Sure.
What do you think as far as regulations concerned then? Because as far as being Google partners,
Yep.
and obviously advertising agencies, do you think there should be any regulation in that?
I do. Absolutely. I'm all for that. 100%. I really do. I think, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but yeah, I mean, there obviously there are lots of accreditations. There are lots of certifications that agencies, ourselves and various others have and can get. But in terms of actual, proper accreditation and having a bit of a rule book, yeah, I'm all for that, because I think there are a lot of sharks out there, and there are a lot of people that can, there are a lot of people that say to people, will
Promise the earth.
Promise the earth. Yeah, I see it all the time. And the thing that I see, we get inquiries every day, and we see stuff. And the biggest thing I have is people promise, as they promise the earth, that it can be done for no time. And then when I always flip it on its head. So I've had 2 or 3 this week alone where I'll speak to someone and they'll go, oh, but you're more expensive than another agency. And I'll go, well, what's the other? I'll go, give me the numbers, what the other agency's done. And when they're willing to do that, I then just ask them, I just go, look, put your common sense head on. For X amount of budget, how much time do you actually think they're going to spend on your account? And then I'll go, how much time would you spend for, I don't know, let's say £1,000, £2,000. How much of your time would you spend on that account? And then you actually see them go, oh, it might only be a couple of days or whatever. And I go, so can they manage 3 different ad accounts, or can you manage a £30,000 spend a month on that? Would you feel comfortable doing that? And you see the cogs kind of turn and go, yeah, okay, it does make sense. If you pay peanuts, what do you get? It's, if you're good at something, you're not going to do it cheap. But the problem is in marketing, because it's not regulated, there's always someone that will do it cheaper. Doesn't mean that, and rarely will it be better. But I think it's always been like that. And I think it's always going to be like that. So personally, I'm all for bringing in regulation.
Yeah, because there's never no, if we can't do this for you, then you get your money back. There's never none of that.
No, you're absolutely right. Rarely is there are some agencies that will do things, pay on performance and stuff like that. There's lots of agency models out there. I think what I've said to brands is, what any brand should be doing is look at the track record of an agency. I think the big things, and what we've lived and breathed by, but what we've done is, I think if I run a brand, I'd be looking at, does the agency I'm working with, or agencies, do they specialize in, do they know my sector? Do they know my space? Do they talk my language? And have they got a track record? And what do their clients say? And have I built a know, like, and trust with them over a period of time? So for us, if I look at those things, we're very specific in terms of what we do. We stay in our lane. We're not a full service agency. It's paid media marketing. So we stick very firmly in our lane. We're very clear on who we do it for. It's home, garden, lifestyle brands. That's it. We don't do anything else. We've got lots of case studies, lots of video testimonials on our website. Clients, going back years, talking about having worked with us. And then we've obviously now, as this very podcast, we're creating lots of content where we can add value, where people might watch this, and then actually watch myriad of other things, and then actually go, yeah, do you know what? I've built enough know, like, and trust that I feel like Evergreen could be the agency for me. And that's one of our aims for running the pod and doing all the tea talks and so on. So I think there's no surefire bet with any agency, but I think there's some of the things that I tell brands to just look for. And then if they feel that we're the right fit, great, we'll chat. If they don't and they feel someone else is, then fantastic. Because there are some amazing agencies out there that do great work, but it almost always is the ones that are very clear on what they do and who they do it for.
Yeah, I must admit, you're the first one I've come across that just does it for a certain sector.
Yeah, it's quite rare. It is quite rare. I mean, we haven't always been, sector specific. I was reluctant between, I say between you and me. Everyone's gonna be watching this. Forgot what I was doing then. I'm recording a podcast, aren't I? Yes, of course I am. But we weren't for years. We We really weren't. We were a little bit of a. We were always very specific in terms of what we did. It was always been more SEO. Now our SEO is more digital strategy because we provide the strategy, the clients do the execution. That's the way, in my opinion, SEO is evolving. We've always done the paid media, but we used to do it for a bit of a jack of all industries. But then we found increasingly so that we were more and more working in home garden lifestyle as a sector, to the point where we just said, you know what, why don't we just go out and say it? You do the risk you run when you do that, and why? Because I've had loads of agencies ask me over the years and over the months how I've done it. Oh, it's a brave thing to do because you might alienate others and so on. But I believe that you've got to stand for something, and it's better to be famous to a few than unknown to everyone. And I think if you're, when it comes to your marketing, your content, I think even this podcast, right? You've come on this pod. And I think because of the way we've positioned the podcast it's very specific what we're going to talk about. And everyone that comes on this pod is running a home garden or lifestyle brand. If you're not running one of those brands with marketing challenges, you can't, this podcast is not for you. And I think even having that niche focus, like there'll be people listening to our conversation that we've just had in 5-10 years from now. And they'll be able to relate to the challenges that you've had because they're in the same sector and they're doing the same sort of stuff. They're on Google, they're thinking about Meta and so on. And I think there's real power in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just that you don't come across that very often as far as paid ad agencies.
No, I think
go for everyone rather than just one.
Yeah, I predict that I think that will become. I do think we one of the earlier adopters that have gone in for it. But I quite like being I quite like going against the grain. I quite like going in the opposite direction. No one else wants to do it. No one's brave enough to do it. So I don't know what that says about me, but I quite like actually going, do you know what? We're going to go all in. We're going to just really focus that and really pin our colors to the mast in a certain area. I quite like doing that.
But from a customer point of view, that's good to hear as well, because then when you go to an agency that deals with every single sector.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think and the other thing that we found is you just become. I can talk the language of I get home and work. For me, I struggle if it's B2B or SaaS or tech. I personally and the team struggle to relate to some of that. Whereas if it's handles and knobs for cabinets, or if it's lawnmowers, or if it's sofas, or it's very relatable. We've all got them in our houses. It's very relatable. So just from a kind of a human level, I've just always found that much easier to market. I don't know whether it's even just our name, Evergreen. It's always resonated. We've always had lots of inquiries from home garden lifestyle brands. It's always just been that sector. So we've kind of gone for it. I do predict that more agencies will do it, in terms of they will go, we just do the automotive industry and we just do this industry and that industry. I do think that is a tide that is going to happen, because here's a stat for you, Mark, just to finish us up. So in the UK, there are over 7,500 digital marketing agencies. How crazy is that? There's a lot. Now, most of those are sub 5 people, but that is a lot. And that number has doubled in less than a decade. So if you look at a trend, a trajectory, because the barrier to entry is so low, because the regulation isn't there, anyone with a bit of experience could say, I'm starting an agency. They may have only been going for 5 minutes. They can knock up a pretty amazing looking website very quickly and then be all things to all people. So I think that
is my biggest bugbear, because I've seen that myself over the years I've been doing this.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that's really what happens. And that's why I think these specialist agencies, not just it's specialist in what you do, but specialist in who you do it for as well. For me, from a kind of an agency industry perspective, that's how I think we're going to address we're not going to get legislation and accreditations coming in. So I think the way agencies are going to navigate that and reiterate that confidence in their target customers is to say, exactly like we're doing, look, we do this thing, we've been doing this thing for however long, and we just do it for people like you. And then if we can back it up with content and case studies, you're off to the races. So look, Mark, we're going to have to wrap it up there. Producer Darren is looking at me. Thank you so much for being on, my friend. I'm more than happy to continue the conversation off air. And I'm delighted you're going to take the Handle Hub idea. I'm going to keep my eye on that. Let me know when that goes live, because I want to have a look at that. Thank you so much for being on, my friend. Really hope you've enjoyed it. And keep us posted how you get on. Thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it, buddy. Look after yourself. Thank you. Well, there we go. That was Mark. We went on a bit of a tangent there. Quite enjoyed that, actually. I genuinely forgot I was recording the podcast for a couple of minutes. It would have been a lot worse. I fully forgot we were even recording, which I guess is a good thing. It's I want our podcast to be very relaxed, very casual, stuff like that, which is great. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Great that Mark's going to take those ideas and run with those and hopefully implement something. I like the Handle Hub. That's a great idea. It just came to me. What can I say? But look, I think it's, I think there'll be others. I guarantee there'll be others watching this that will be all in on Google and thinking, I'm seeing a diminishing return. I'm seeing, fewer clicks for my pound. What can I do? How can I grow? So if we've been able to just impart a few things to help Mark and to help anyone else watching this in terms of thinking about the different types of campaigns, diluting down the over reliance on anyone. So it doesn't matter if you're all in on email. You don't want to be. If you're all in on SEO, you don't want to be. You need to dilute that reliance per channel. Once again, I'm going to link to the Backbone Digital Marketing. It's such an amazing resource that not enough brands have seen. Every brand sees it, goes, oh my, this is an amazing thing. Not enough have seen it, which is why we keep talking about it, because it's so powerful. It's literally been the backbone of how we've built this agency over the years. So there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. We will see you on the next one. Once again, my thanks to Mark, and thank you to you for watching and listening. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.